Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2-pack of I don't know how to pronounce it, ZARAX and ZORK. Honestly, I don't remember these guys at all. I remember the orange one, Triceraton. I guess that's not his name. Whatever. I remember the orange one from being a kid. I don't remember these guys at all. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be a fun set. Sure, there's a lot of reused parts. Probably not as many as you might have thought, though. We do have a fair bit of uniqueness to these guys. So that's pretty good. And they're more of the same from NECA. I mean, NECA hasn't really done a bad job on any of the Turtle stuff lately, I'd say. Though April was probably the weakest. It's all been pretty solid, and these guys are more of that. Although there is still some stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, these guys, even though they don't have the exact same heads, they are roughly the same. So we're just going to measure this one. It's going to be, like I said, about the same. To the top of the head, it's about 6 5/8, and to the top of the spiky part of his head, the frilly thing, it's closer to 7 5/8, just to give you an idea. And then we can say it's about 17 centimeters and 19 and a half. I don't know, right about there. It's pretty close, whatever. Depends on how much you have his head leaning and that kind of thing. And like I said, they're about the same if you don't count his horn thingies. You know, they're about the same size. All right, now just to go over the aesthetic, we have to first do a question of the day. Which villain from the Turtles cartoon? I'd like to say the main cartoon, like the goofy one that these guys are from. But if you want to pick a different one, you can. But which villain is your favorite? Shredder is not allowed. You have to pick a different villain other than Shredder. I might say Rat King, though I like Trag a lot. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you guys think. It doesn't really matter, but I think you guys have far more answers than I have, so it's more interesting for you to answer than for me. Okay, so let's just look at the aesthetic on these guys. Legs are the same. Arms are the same. Wrists are different. We have different wristbands. The breastplates are different. Shoulder pads are different. Heads are different. Everything else is the same. So breastplate, I said breastplate, but it's the whole upper armor, upper coating thingy. So that's all a separate piece. And NECA was clever in using a lot of the same body parts, but then making sure this part was interchangeable for the different characters. I like that. That makes a big deal. I don't really care so much that the arms and legs are the same. The most noticeable, important things are different, and that's cool. And primarily, that's the heads. I thought even the heads were going to be mostly the same, but no, they actually did it right, so that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we do see a lot of reused parts from other figures from before, but we've been seeing those. And again, it's not so much that parts get reused that's a problem. It's when they get reused poorly, and these are being reused in a good way, so I'm all right with that. And they both have the same quality of paint job. I can't come up with any real problems, other than maybe accuracy-wise, this guy's a little bit too neon, the green one. And maybe the yellow one should have green eyes, I think. But that's, I don't know, that's based on the packaging, and I'm not sure that that's 100% accurate. But otherwise, they did a good job. Like the color panels are good, from lighter green to dark green and lighter yellowish orange to darker orange. Yeah, it's clean, man. The black lines are all clean. I don't really have any issue with these guys. They look really, really good. I guess I could say the black ring around his nose horn is a little bit heavy, but if that's the only thing I can come up with, that's not too bad. They have the articulated mouths, which I'll mention later, but they have the painted tongues inside. One is reddish pink and one is orange. That's nice. Yeah, these guys look good all the way around. I have no issue. They're very well executed, very well put together, aesthetically speaking. I'm going to give them a 9.5 out of 10. They are very nicely done. As far as accessories go, they each come with a set of loose hands on them in the package. Then we get a set of gripping hands each and one trigger finger hand each. The yellow one gets the alternate wrist bands, wrist thingies that have like spikies on them or something, whatever those are. I guess depending on which way you face them, they could be elbow pads. I don't know. Then we also get the SMG looking thing with the plate on the front, and that's pretty cool. And then we get the rifle, and all the accessories are the same as the ones we already looked at for the orange guy and Rodney, but they're fine. And then we get the other rifle with the orange glowing front end, which is pretty cool. And that's it for accessories. Not a ton. I guess it'll do. You can give them each a gun, and that's probably all you really need to do, so that's fine. So 7, 8 out of 10, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's probably all you need. It's not going to make a difference. You give them each a gun and you're set, as far as I'm concerned, so that's fine. Now, as far as articulation goes, the only real difference is going to come from the heads, so I guess we could do that. Let's look at each head, and then we'll just use one for the rest of it, although I'm guessing it's going to be about the same. So this one can look up very nicely. Look, it looks down. Well, it doesn't go down too far because he's got a lot of face on the front of his head. And then you can rotate it, which isn't very helpful. Can you actually turn it? Nah, he's got too much cheek, so you can't really turn it. All right, that's, it's okay. I don't expect to get these guys in tons of poses. I mean, that's pretty much the story for this whole line. But looking up is really good. Again, looking down, not so much. And he's got a lot of cheek on him also. And I mentioned they do have the articulated opening jaws. So yeah, heads are adequate, nothing crazy, which is pretty much going to be the story for all of the articulation, I suspect. Now the shoulder pads on the other guy do come down a little bit more. I guess I'll show you those separately just in case it's different. You can't quite get horizontal, but it's probably enough. And then as far as rotation goes, you'll be able to do it. This is fairly soft plastic, but it is painted, and this is all painted, so I wouldn't be grinding any parts up against each other if you don't have to. But you're going to have the range you need. So that's fine. Let's check this guy's shoulder. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Yeah, you can still get the arm up just about the same. And the way this shoulder pad is done, it looks much nicer. But I mean, they look the same. But this is just, anytime you can really hide joints, which is what this is doing, it's cool. That's just a character design. That's not really NECA, but hey, what the heck. It looks good. All right, so shoulders are about the same. Elbows, again, we've seen all this stuff before, but let's just make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. The lower joint works. Upper joint works. Yeah, you're going to get all the range you need. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Nothing special there. Yeah, when I reviewed the orange guy, I mentioned how you can't really do much here, and everybody was like, well, yeah, but if you pick this up and go over... Yeah, if you take the stomach part up and put it over his crotch, then yeah, you'll get more range, but then his abs are hanging down by his happy place, and you don't want that, so that doesn't count. You can't do that and say it has better range. No, you get a waist twist, and that's about it. You're gonna be having some flex. There's a little bit of flex on this guy. It works. A little bit of, actually, his works a lot better than the orange guy, so that's good. And the way it works is you don't have to take his ab plate, which is part of his body, by the way, and put it on top of his belt. So that one works pretty well. This one's a little bit different. Let's see. I mean, it's the same underneath. It's the same engineering, but we'll see how this works because this part doesn't move. So I'm guessing he's going to be like the orange one in that you have to take this, which is not part of his body, and put it over. Yeah, so if you take it over, he has more range. And I guess if you don't mind doing that, that's okay, because this is actually armor on him, and the other one is his stomach, as far as I'm aware. So they actually have decent range. It's just a matter of what's in the way, which is what I was talking about on Triceraton, is that the stuff was in the way, so you couldn't move it. But they get decent range out of that diaphragm joint, so good on them. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do more special, so because of this piece, let's see. All right, the legs going out to the side is going to be the same for either one, and you get plenty of good range there. Oh, good. There were some chunks, but they just came right off. You never want chunks on your crotch. That's what I always say. So the legs go out to the side pretty well. It's going to be the same for both of them. Going back, they don't have. Going forward, this one is definitely more limited, but it's not really so much this piece as it is the diaper. So that's pretty limited. I wouldn't force that too much. Let's go ahead and try it on here, even though I'm pretty sure it's the diaper and not the loincloth. Yeah, it's really the diaper. Because it's so far over on the side, so wide at the crotch, you can see it's binding. And I wouldn't force it. If you're feeling froggy, go ahead and do it, but I really wouldn't be forcing this plastic too much. You're going to end up with paint cracking or plastic tearing. They are on the ball sockets. None of them are particularly loose, but none of them are particularly tight. So you shouldn't have too much trouble, but it definitely could be better. They're working on it, apparently, but I would like for them to fix that sooner rather than later. Get those hips really zeroed in. We still have wrinkles from the old pants that these legs were originally on, which isn't great for these guys who aren't wearing pants. So far, more people have used these legs without wearing, well, maybe not, maybe because of Leatherhead. Anyway, some of them have pants and some of them don't, but we get the sculpt either way. That's a bummer. All right, as far as the knees go, shouldn't be a problem. They haven't been a problem. Can't get that top joint. Ah, boy, I can't get that top joint to go. Let's try this leg. There we go. So mine's tight. A lot of these figures, obviously, if you heat them up, they work better, but I use them right out of the package so that you guys can see what you can expect right out of the package. So double jointed knees work fine, better than 90. That'll be enough. And many of you have said you don't really pose your turtle figures anyway, you just want them on the shelf, and I get that, and I'm sure NECA gets that, and that's why they focus on the aesthetic anyway. Ankles on these guys do work better than most because of the design they have. You get better range going forward and back, and an ankle rocker. So these are probably the best of the more limited figures as far as articulation goes. Like, these are better than Leatherhead for sure, even better than Triceraton. So not a bad batch. This is a fun set. This is a fun 2-pack, and it was well executed. I'll give the articulation a 7. It's nothing crazy, but it works well enough, and they look good. So final verdict on this set is, if you're into collecting these relatively more obscure characters, these more side type characters, then this is a set I would recommend. It's a good one. I'll give it a final verdict of 8 out of 10. They look good, they come with enough accessories, and they pose well enough that you can put them on the shelf in a happy way, and probably leave them and just enjoy them for what they look like, which is definitely what NECA's leaning toward. And I will say, if anybody nails a style, it's NECA. Like, these figures look exactly like what NECA was trying to get them to look like. You know what I mean? Like, opaque paint, very clean lines for the color blocks. These look like what you want them to look like on the shelf. NECA's been nailing it, so there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, do it, because I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.